What the world? How y'all doing this morning? Tuesday, motivation and inspiration. Shout out to everybody that's up going to work, going to school, getting them babies up. To my people already at the job and my people on the way to sleep on the other side of the world, I love you all. Hope you tapped in with the plug. Said thank you for another opportunity at this thing called life, or as I lay me down to sleep, whichever side you on. I wanted to give a shout out to Josh Nally, I think is his name. I read a story that he posted on TikTok for 321 days straight of him playing dead. And they got him a role on CSI. That's dummy lit. That ain't inspiration for you to keep following your goals and your dreams. I don't know what it is, baby. But what's 5 things you're grateful for? I'm in a good mood this morning. I was on Facebook Marketplace like a week ago, and somebody had a treadmill listed for free. All I had to do was go pick it up. So hopped in the whip. First, let me hop in the muck. And got the treadmill, and now I got a treadmill in my basement. So when I wake up in the morning, work out, get to ride the treadmill, make my content, man, and it just feels good to get your heart beating up like that. 2-3 years ago, I was driving to Planet Fitness. Well, it was a little longer than that. I used to drive to Planet Fitness every morning to work out at 5 a.m. And during that time, I never even imagined that I would have a little mini gym inside of my home in my basement. So whatever you're working towards, just keep going, and you'll get blessed in ways you never imagined, because I surely never thought I'd have a gym inside my home, and it ain't one of them $1 million gyms that LeBron James got, but my body still look good. But on this Tuesday morning, man, I hope you're in a good mood. I hope you're expecting good things, blessings on the way. I really can't tell you what's going on in the world, what's negative is happening, because I don't have notifications on my phone. I don't watch TV. I just play with my children when I'm at home. So I'm super disconnected from society. And I think it was Denzel Washington said, if you watch the news, you're misinformed, and if you don't watch it, you're uninformed, or something along those lines. And I just feel you'll hear enough people talking about it and gossiping about it that you'll learn about it anyway. But it ain't no need for me to consume my energy or put my thoughts into it, And I encourage you to be the same way. You gotta stop letting your mind go everywhere that your body go. Like, your body could be driving to work. Like right now, I'm driving to work, but my mind, I'm on a beach in the Bahamas somewhere, watching the sunrise, eating some grapes. You got to keep your mind in a state of abundance, of happiness. Because anything the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And as a man thinketh, so is he. That's in the Bible, and that's from James Allen. So you can't let every little negative thing throw you off. Anything that controls you becomes your master. And if I can control you with words, or with memes, or with tweets, or whatever, if I can control you with things like that, then man, I run you. And so I think everybody should ask themselves, are you in control of yourself? And it's okay to not be perfect. It's something to work towards. I wasn't this way overnight. I really had to evolve to become this calm and not be bothered by the world. We trained out the gate to be hostile. He said black. He said nigga. She said something about my mama. You train to just jump and get up and go, and not think about the consequences of throwing your life away, or somebody coming back and shooting up the whole block, or overreacting in public at a store and just having a bad reputation. A lot of things that we aren't taught to think about it. Everyone thinks, but no one thinks. That's what I say. Because you wouldn't be controlled by so many narratives of the world. You wouldn't have emotion in so many things. And I'm not saying that there aren't issues, right? But once again, to be emotionally involved sometimes puts you at a disadvantage if someone is trying to manipulate or control said emotions. Just something I've learned in my little process in life. And I appreciate all the comments where everyone tells me that I'm so wise and I have so much wisdom, but it's almost like kind of hard to take those because I'm still learning. And truthfully, I say it a lot. The more I learn, I learned that I have so much more to learn. Like the world is so big. That's how I don't understand people talk in generalizations, because there's so much knowledge to learn. So many different cultures, so many different ideas, so many different concepts. Yet, if you was on social media or you look up to Hollywood superstars, they make you think they just knew everything about everything. And I don't want to come off like that. I know where I come from and how I was raised, but I ain't about to pretend I can tell you about every other culture. I can tell you what I've learned and what I've studied and what I see about controlling large groups of individuals. And then I can say, I look out in the world and say, I read Psycho-Cybernetics. I read Propaganda by Eric Bernet, I think that's his name. And I see a lot of things going on in this world. Actually, this morning I was listening to Your Word Is Your Wine by Florence Scovel Shinn. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of her. If not, check out her work. Once again, some great affirmations, great content. And I catch myself laughing, because if you would have told me I'd be lifting weights to Your Word Is Your Wine and not some music with heavy bass, I would have never believed you. But we all have the power to evolve. And everyone wants to consume more knowledge. I know the image that is painted by the media that we all want to grow up and wear 45 chains and have a ring on every finger. That's not true. I've never desired that in my life, but I did want to get smarter. I did want to understand why I was born into this environment, why is it things like this. When your parents are on Section 8 and once a year you have to hide all your father's things to pretend he don't live there, that makes you kind of curious as a young kid. At least me, every year I remember these people walking through our house with clipboards, looking at this, looking at that. And if it didn't pass, they came back in 2 or 3 days after the handyman come out and fix little issues. But you could not have your daddy living there. And it always was in my brain, why wouldn't you want my daddy to live with me? Why would you purposely want me to live with just my mama? And then you become an adult and then you look around and see, oh, it makes sense now. It's all about control. And I know I'm not the only one that grew up in a Section 8 home. I'm not the only one that had that type of experience of watching their parents have their Section 8 inspection. That's something I've never heard talked about. There's so many concepts that we don't hear the rappers and the athletes and the entertainers, the Hollywood stars, they don't talk about their success or their struggle. Like, nobody's an overnight success. It takes sweat and tears and a bunch of late nights and early mornings and failure and rejection. But they walk around and just present the perfect side of life. And I feel that doesn't inspire the masses. At least it didn't inspire me. But listening to the regular people talk about their story and how they work 2 jobs to provide for their kids, and all the single fathers that be out there commenting, and the women who dealing with certain situations that I couldn't believe, and all the people who done been abused as a child, and how every day we overcoming our trauma and our struggles. That's why I say we the people should be highlighted as the stars. We the real people. We them real ones, because we know what it's like to hit rock bottom and get back up. See, the ones at the top, they afraid to come down to the bottom. But if you done been to the bottom, you understand you can get it how you live. You can thug it. You can make a bag, lose a bag, and get another one. Your health ain't something to play with, though. I was healthy. I didn't take care of my body, was drinking lean and doing all that stuff. Blew my knee out, and now I'm back in shape again. Discipline equals freedom. My children are a big part of why I discipline myself so much. My daughter, 13-year-old Shelly, I love you. She came to me yesterday, walked in the house and work. She said, "Daddy, I can see the line from my abs now." As a father, man, that's something no dollar amount can replace. And she's like, "I want to be the first one out of all the siblings to have really, really nice abs." And then Junebug over there looking like, "My abs starting to pop a little bit, sissy." And she's like, "Yeah, whatever." My co-monster, he be trying to be on his thing too. So JJ the only one we got to get up there. And man, just as a father, that's dope to me. My children are having a competition over abs, My daddy used to walk around looking at women's ass. My daddy used to be staring at tits and stuff. So as a young boy, I was hyper-focused on women and being sexual. Because I saw my father looking at women all the time. It was older women looking at me all the time. So I just thought that's what you were supposed to start engaging in. And my children, that's the last thing that's on their mind. Literally, they focus. Yesterday for dinner, I turned on Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World, and had all the kids eating dinner listening. And the best part about it is when my son heard it, he said, "Daddy, we listen to this in the car." It's like, man, it's working. Them seeds we planting. Because in reality, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, so many people say you're a good father. I don't want that credit yet. Because I ain't did nothing. They still live in my house. I control them 100%. When they get out into this world and got to conduct themselves on their own, that's when you can see if I did a good job or not. But right now, I'm still driving the car. I know a lot of parents out there did the best they could with what they had, and their children still turned out all kind of ways. So I'm not about to sit here and guarantee who my babies are going to be, but I know the seeds that I'm planting. You know, I know the seeds that my parents planted for me are nothing like I turned out to be. So who knows? My children could drift far away from what I'm trying to get in. But if my kids don't get it, I'm sure somebody out here watching these videos is gonna grab it, man. Consume knowledge, you know. And it's fun. It gets to a point where you get into these books and you read another one, and you read another one, and then inspire you to read another one, and then before you know it, you just spent your whole day listening to audiobooks. I spent half my day yesterday listening to Bob Proctor. Dude has so much wisdom. But then it, like listening to Bob Proctor and them, it makes me look at certain rappers different. Because if you listen to Young Dolph preach, he had Alan Watts on the beginning of that track. So it was like, maybe he knew a little more than what we thought. If you've ever looked at Nipsey Hussle's reading list, it's wild that he read those books. Like the fact that Nip read 3 Magic Words by U.S. Anderson. Oh, he was dummy spiritual. Wish he would have talked about it a little more in his content, because I definitely feel the masses would have gravitated to something like that. And I know he spoke of it in an interview, but it seems we don't start seeing these interviews of rappers talking so positive and uplifting until we ain't got them no more. It's clips of Tupac I'm seeing now. I was like, where was this at? So if you out there watching this, be mindful of what you put out, because you know it'll be cherry picked. That's how information is to make you look like a bad person. Once I blow up, you definitely better believe they're gonna try to smear my image. That's just kind of how mainstream does, because influence is real, and helping people look inside themselves and heal themselves and understand life has a bigger purpose, that's a threat to the powers that be that want to control you. The only thing that you have control over is your thoughts, the way you feel about situations, and you don't have to be emotionally attached to them. And when you learn that certain brands or titles or ideas or groups are all to emotionally control you, you look at them differently. I know I did when I started growing up. I remember when the Mike Brown stuff popped off and the Trayvon Martin, and you still was kind of lost in the sauce. And then you just kind of start watching how it all play out. And Black Lives Matter isn't real. It's never been real. It just, for some reason, it was able to get this hot trend and the whole world fell for it. And it really just taught me having a family matters, and a strong family, because a lot of these young people that die, just random people get on TV just so they can get a check, just so they can get some exposure. I'm actually supposed to be going to St. Louis for a Father's Day event, and Mike Brown Sr. is going to be there. And he had spoke out and said how Black Lives Matter is trying to scam him out of some money or something, but it just, we the people gotta have conversations like this. We gotta get to know each other, because love is the highest form of currency. And if I got $1, you got $1, we exchange that and we still got $1. But if I got an idea, you got an idea, man, you know how many different things we can come up with? No matter where you from, we can exchange ideas, exchange thoughts. And a lot of people ask me, like, what inspired me to start this? And as crazy as it sounds, is my children. Like, my father never made more than $7 an hour. maybe $8 an hour. He always had under the table jobs. My children go to school right now and Google my name, and pictures come up. I just mentally that, and I'm not even like a huge star, but it just does something that your children really look up to you. And I tell all of them every day, you know, you're gonna be so much better than me. You already better than me. You have such a head start over where I am, and